What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. Yes, I have seen the Godzilla vs. Kong trailer, and I want to remind everybody, Legendary's likely losing the rights to Godzilla upcoming and keeping the rights to Kong. So as a huge Godzilla fan, I'm still gonna go in, enjoy the movie, and the trailer is kind of going one-sided towards Kong, it feels like, which would mean that I feel like they're trying to allude that Kong's gonna win and then pull a Godzilla win, maybe have a Kong redemption arc. I can hold on to hope, but whatever side you're on, I'm down to watch the movie and have some fun. The MonsterVerse for America has been really freaking awesome, and that being said, let's get into what you guys came here for, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Market Watch. Yes, still a Yu-Gi-Oh! Channel. So with Legendary Duelist Season 2, we saw some actual buyouts. Like, this was up towards $20 last night and has fallen back towards $15 already with listers, but notice with Legendary Duelist Season 2, there's just not the biggest amount of listers, like 26 here, 50-ish here, which is actually low for a new card. We have 32 urgent schedules as it has price spiked. We can see here that Yu-Gi-Oh! Daily had this at $4.50 and now it is towards $7.50 on their site, but you can use code WhatsGood5 to support the channel and also get yourself a percentage off at Yu-Gi-Oh! Daily. And they have other stuff so more competitive like Harpy Perfumer here at $5, which is still up. And then they have Galaxy Afterglow here at $12, which is beating the market as well. So there are some cards they're going to try to keep up with the market, but things are rapidly changing that are above TCG Player, which you can use that TCG Player link to support the channel directly, costing you nothing extra for the cards you'd already be buying, or come over here and also kind of shop both, make sure you're getting the best deal. And there's so much going for this set compared to its predecessors, and vendors were super scared to go in after Legendary Duelist Season 1 failed, after Dragons of Legend failed, so there's less of this product and more demand for the singles, which is driving prices up. Now, nothing's going too crazy, like you have one card basically here giving the MSRP of the product, but that is a sign of a successful product, and another one starting to slowly head there. This has gone down to 10, now it's up towards 12, and other ones coming up behind rather fast. I would get the singles sooner than later. Yes, there's going to be some flux, but kind of just watch and get yours when you want it, because this set was very underordered. I know from sponsors that it was compared to other sets that they wish to go in on, and I think this will age very well on the singles like Garden Rose Maiden, as I've been saying, and it's fluctuated a bit already. This card is going to get some hype later on, and it reminds me a lot of Black Garden, a card that would fluctuate all the way down to $3 sometimes. I don't know how people let it go, then spike back up to 17, 18 until it got enough copies. This is only its second copy, and it's unlikely to get another reprint anytime soon. Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Juggernaut Leave, that's a win condition and played with the Eldritch engine at times, so I see this super low on quantities. I believe it's a bit cheaper over here still at $4.50 on Yu-Gi-Oh! Daily. Yeah, kind of crazy to see some things staying stable, other things spiking so soon, but I kind of expected it with what a low quantity of this was out there, and people starting to say, well, I only want a couple things from Blazing Vortex, and these actually interest me. That's why this is going and prices are going kind of wild, even though they're still low right now. They're very affordable. The only excuses you have are basically yourself for not jumping on the cards you want out of here now, and maybe calling the wrong timing of, okay, maybe it'll go down a little, and then it's like, don't do that to yourself, okay? Galaxy Soldier, speaking of galaxies, it's not just for Cyber Dragons, and Cyber Dragons getting a lot of hype right now with the reprints as we've seen on the market with stuff like hers. Galaxy Soldier is played in Cyber Dragons, also the Galaxy Photon decks, and almost every version of this has been going up pretty ridiculously, I must say, but it does make sense. Only 3 total printings. Dual Power gave it a very chill price at one point, I think of around $3, $2.50, and now they are all up almost towards what their original hype price was, 18 to 20 for the secret rares when there were only 2 copies. So get them back to the hype on this card. If you have them, feels pretty good, man. If you don't, feels pretty bad, man. King of the Skull Servants, we have White Baking coming, and there's been some hype over here. The ultra rare, ridiculously proportioned price, and I told you guys the super rare was an amazing buy at $3.50 and even $5 that I would still get it, and now it is towards $20. People love their Skull Servant collectibles no matter what, and with a new piece of support coming, oh boy, we're gonna rise again. Big Monster beat you down. The Linteo is probably somewhere in my comment section if he's still around, but no, seriously, seriously, he loves the deck. And this version of the card, very nice to see a holographic form that was somewhat easily accessible, and the rest, well, you're stuck with commons, and almost every version of this card back above $1 plus. White Mare for a penny stonk, the ultra rare is still super available, and I think this will probably get a little more traction coming. Its only other version being Starstrike Blast. Two versions of this card, we could see it definitely go a little somewhere. Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. This is what I laughed at for people getting when Dragons of Legend the Complete Series. Okay, so I'm wrong sometimes. Market Man, I obviously am down to admit when I'm wrong. So I laughed at people for buying it out right as Dragons of Legend, the Complete Series, got announced the day after. But it turns out sometimes new versions can give old Legends hype. And with Dark Magician Girl scantily clad upon a dragon, and we wonder how she's staying on there, Unlimiteds are towards 90, where First Eds were 54 after the buyout. And we see here, first editions towards 275. This has gone to ridiculous proportions. Now, will there be sales rates at these prices? No, but if you bought in early, you're doing a great job for yourself and going past the foresight I had to see. Dragons of Legends is one of the best collectible sets of modern eras, even though the cards have been reprinted into oblivion for some of these. I do think that it was a pretty good call past where I would have been wrong on, and you guys were right that actually went for it. Next up, we see Shadows in Valhalla. The Valkyrie stuff is going up for some reason. If you have any tidbits on why that actually could be, we're OTKing, we're back-to-back turns, you don't get a turn. I don't know what you all are doing, but Ride of the Valkyries is up. A Mischief of the Time Goddess is one I've always liked as a call, around $3. Remember, I told you guys, I'm like, this is a classic anime waifu look, and she is up towards $6.50 now, so you could have had a double up if you got back in there, and she's just been stable over time. You can see the market price is actually higher. Brunhild towards $10, everything's up, and yeah, Ninja Grandmaster Saizo is apparently only 13 copies on the market, so people have been targeting this set kind of quietly, and let me know if you know what's going on with this overall. You would think it would be things like Ice Spell with new Wind Witch support coming out, or Apex Avion is a pretty good penny stonk. It still only has 3 total versions, under $1, but instead it's stuff like this, and it's a little baffling to me, but maybe Valkyries are, I mean, they are an anime deck, technically a fan favorite in some regards, at least people paid for them on a poll, am I right? Next up, Machine King Ultra Rare. Apparently there's only so many copies of this in existence, so I don't think it's the smallest brain call, but I'm going to explain what happened on a live stream. Somebody brought this to my attention. We do see a $700 listing. Ooh, the opportunity. Versus a market price of quote-unquote 40. Now, the Duelist League version at this point was completely untouched, and I laughed at them for not going for it. They now, after, have gone for it, maybe to try to solidify it as a buyout. But I do give props that it could be the next CS Singe Engine, in the sense that there truly are a limited amount of that Machine King out there, just as there are this Singe Engine. This used to be $10 to $20, completely undesired. Now it has a market price of $120, and you see it actually listed around $200 and very rarely much under that. So this Machine King buyout could be towards there, but the Duelist League was cheaper than the Legendary Collection Common. Completely untouched, and we know people are still gonna have stacks of this left in a store that they didn't bother because, well, they'd only be getting pennies on the dollar shipping them out with a stamp and a top loader and all that stuff. So this did get bought out over the weekend after I laughed at people doing the Ultra buyout saying, well, you know, while it is, there's just no demand, look over here. So they may be trying to put the facade of demand, but this is what you have to do to try to drive a buyout. And I don't necessarily disagree with the pick. This interesting white letter effect monster should never have happened. Kind of cool thing that happened. This is a cool piece of history. Machine King does appear in the anime, but the demand wasn't there, and they're trying to force something to happen. So it'll be interesting to see how it does pan out. But then again, people had to try to force this one to happen, and over time, it truly did pan out. Oh, WCS, gotta match my prize cards, gotta get my rare cards. Well, same can be said for this ultra rare, so let's see how it does go over time. I actually, speaking of live streams, have caused a couple of buyouts. I gotta own whenever that happens. So we were looking in the DT cards, and I'm kind of harsh on DT cards overall, but we came across Sapphire Pegasus because somebody did the typical, John, have you seen DT Sapphire Pegasus is $500? I go, no, that's dual terminal preview. You need to learn these differences. Dual terminal 1, it's still around $2. So people actually did buy this out, and you can see already there's listings back. With dual terminal, it's just so hard to do a buyout period because these went on clearance 1 through 4. So people will happily relist, and they'll go a couple copies at a time. They're not really greedy, and you see competition heats up rather fast. But what also got bought out that I think is the smarter buyout is the 10 version, which was still around $4. You can see the market price, and now it's more towards 8. And I still think it's actually a smart buy under $10. But this version of the card, like 10 promos are getting buyout after buyout as we featured, and I was like, why is this still at 4? It's a GX legend. People love it. And now there's only a couple listings under $10. But I still think it's a good buy under 10 in my opinion, because this is a classic. It's a 10 promo which has been getting collected, and as 10s soar up in price, what's the price of the sealed? This becomes one of the memorable things that used to be worthless that does go up, that isn't just going to replenish itself on market like the dual terminal version. So this, I do think, was the bigger brain buyout. Another one that was caused by the streams was Horus the Black Flame Dragon level 8. We came across a Horus buyout, so basically ultras are up in price. DR3, there's one left at 75, which, weird enough to say, Dark Revelations 3 might not be the worst price. Ultimate Rare at 10k, oh my gosh, sock value content price. But this was around $5, $6. I think they were all 6. And now it's more towards $9/$10 here. And I still think it's a good buy up through $10. It's a unique version that came out of the special editions, and when you searched Horus, it's actually hard to make it come up. There's also Duelist League versions of Horus that have been missed that are around $2 to $3. Let's see here. Horus the Black Flame. So people just don't bother to click through, I guess, at times. So we can actually come through here. Yeah, $4 copy here. Next one is like $8. So people have been buying out all versions of Horus, and it does make sense with the Ultimate Rare being that shock value. We'll actually just go to it. Horus the Black Flame Dragon level 8. Editing done live and cheap by John Moore. But yeah, when people see this, this is one of those true collectibles that is up there in price. I think used to a raw, good-looking, ungraded would go for $1,000 for first edition. Now it's kind of a question mark what you could get for it ungraded, and people have theirs listed at 10k. That's kind of ridiculous. But with this card, it truly is one of the most desired collectibles, up there with like Ancient Gear Golem, for example. People really want this card. So the other versions that people fondly remember, I locked them out of their spells like I do with Jinzo for traps. People went after this, and I think the secret rare version is a unique collectible. It reminds me of a 10 promo, yet it's out of a special edition. It's pretty darn cool. Somebody brought up in stream number F0 and asked if it's a good buy, because the future is going to be here at some point. That's cheesy, I know. But we will see another card that can just overlay on F0 that is very good in the future. And the only other common is out of Legendary Duelist Magical Hero. So you could see another reprint coming in Legendary Duelist Season 3. Probably not as a holo, but this is a prismatic secret rare. And I still do think it's an interesting concept as a buy, but it's only done nothing but go down after its initial buyouts before. Remember, this went to 8 to 10. If that card does get announced, you could see people go back for it, so I get maybe wanting to buy it and list it ahead of time, or just having secured your own copy for yourself in the nicest rarity. And they're not going to redo a prismatic secret rare of this card, so if you want it, it is at a great price to buy it. I wouldn't go overboard with grabbing them, though. I'd get yourself a copy or maybe a playset. I wouldn't go too deep in, though, because you could just see another available reprint, as we already have one that's in the pennies. Pot of Extravagance is an interesting conversation. We have a new pot chase card coming, and somebody asked, will Extravagance fall down? I find that to be an interesting conversation, because people could go away from playing this. You see the market price is towards 25, 26, but it's only fallen down kind of slowly, and you have motivated sellers here before it is back up to that price, so people are jumping off of it a little. I do think the new pot card will replace Extravagance to an extent, but certain trap dot decks, they don't care what they're drawing. Every single card in their deck's a 1-for-1. There will still be a demand for Extravagance, but yes, I do think people will lean towards the new card, but it will be so expensive that this leaves this more towards a budget alternative, yet it's not very budget. It just ends up in a weird place, so I do want to actually kind of see, will this have a fallout from the new pot card being in there, or will it kind of just stay where it's at and not really fall too far under $18, despite all of its recent versions? Toon Chaos Unlimited, you have the Mega 10 version. I do think that's a kind of interesting concept, so thanks for bringing that to my attention on the live streams. Metamorphosis is up towards $10-12 for the common. I didn't know it'd really gone towards $12. There's one new motivated lister as of today around the $10-ish mark, and it's just one that last I knew was 6. I figured it creeped up maybe towards 8, but it's past my expectations. Other old cards going past expectations that could be played in GOAT format: Enemy Controller, which got played by Blade in Salomon Great format. Yay, Blade Yu-Gi-Oh! He actually topped with Enemy Controller in his Salad deck. The DTs had a buyout, the Ultras have had a buyout, the Supers have had a buyout, so somebody just ran the gauntlet on all these, and it looks like Champion Pack Rares are also bought out. There's other cool collectibles like the Secret Rare that got completely ignored, so if you want a nice version, let's see where the first edition's at. Yeah, $250. Cool. $230. Get yourself a pretty cool version out of something that has been kind of stonks. So I could see that being $5 if people continue on those other buyouts. And Dual Terminal Book of Moon got bought out to around the $20 mark. It still is around there. And with DT buyouts, I just feel like they don't really stick that well. And you have other competing versions like a Secret Rare, an Ultra Rare that's now lower priced than the DT, and it kind of drags down Book of Moon whenever these because there's just so many options available that people go, yeah, the DT's nice, I remember the DT, it's cool, but there's all these other competing versions in the same price range that often don't let it just fly. That being said, that's today's Market Watch. Tons of things going on. Thanks for bringing a lot of cards to my attention in live streams. Sorry for the cards that I found that ended up getting bought out before I could bring them as content, because usually I use the live streams to find content, and we haven't had it's been very long since the live stream ever had a direct impact, but I'm still gonna own that when it happens. If I put it there and there's a direct knee-jerk reaction after I did a live stream, I'm gonna talk about it. And sometimes, you know, it just takes hundreds instead of 10,000 people watching a card for something to happen to it if they do agree with what you think about the cards. And those were pretty cheap collectibles. Again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the conversations, and see you on the live stream tonight at 7 o'clock Central.